Okay, boys, here we are, early portion of week 3, and I thought it was time to sit down, make a video, and analyze this new scoring system of ours. So is it hitting league or pitching league? Clearly, if you've been watching any of the live scoring, the hitters are certainly outscoring the pitchers. You can have a great pitcher, and even on a good night, if they could get into double digits, that would be considered a good evening. If they get it in the 20s, boy, you just had an outstanding start, where the hitters are really racking up the points. But on the surface, that clearly would look like it would be a hitting league, that our scoring system would allow owners to just pull away from the pack due to the hitters that they have. But if you dig into the stats a little closer, you might be surprised, folks. Our first place team this year is led wire to wire. It is John Malphus. John Malphus is in first place, followed by John Metzger and the Joe Boos. Boo, Joe Boos. So if we look at that a little closer, and you all can get on the overall standings and look at the stats, you'll notice that John Malphus, our first place team, does not have the most hitting points. In fact, John Metzger and Joe Boos have more hitting points than Malphus does. So what is putting Malphus into first place if he doesn't have the most hitting points? Well, of course, the answer is pitching. Pitching. I wrote this down a little bit of paper right now. John Malphus is about 120 points ahead of the second and third place team in pitching. Isn't that interesting? So pitchers aren't scoring as much, but once again, the difference maker between people in the standings is pitching. Our last place team, John Pape, down at the bottom. You know, when you're at the bottom, you're kind of behind in both hitting and pitching. But if you look at the stats, John Pape is about 140 points behind in the hitting department as compared to our first place team. But if you slide over to the right and take a look at those pitching points, John Pape is about 220 points behind in the pitching department, already heading into week 3. So the question, my friends, is this: is it really a hitting league now? Is it really the hitters that are getting owners' advantages? Seems to me that the difference maker still is the pitching points, even though the pitching points per game and points per pitcher are down. So it'll be interesting to see if that works itself out during the year or not. But this early going, the difference maker between first, second, third, and the other places appears to be the pitching points, not the hitting points. So before I wrap up here, I want to give a few quick shout outs to some early season surprises. Early season teams that have just surprised and done some good things. We got to start off first with Malphus. Malphus first place right out of the gate from wire to wire. You know, John goes about his business pretty quietly. If you go back through our league history, he's been in the running for the championship probably the last 2 or 3 years. And I've had the privilege to be in the auction room with him the last few years, and he sits very quietly, is very patient, doesn't rush to make a bid on players, and even after it's done, you know, he makes a few trades, picks up a few players here and there, but it's very, very quiet, goes about his business very quietly, and sure enough, there he is, once again, up at the top. I'll be honest, I consider this an early season surprise, because he surprises me. He sneaks up on me. It's all quiet, and next thing you know, you're like, you know, who did John even draft? He was so quiet, it took him so long to bet on a player. Who does he even have on his team? And sure enough, there he is at the top. Surprise number 2. We got to give a shout out to John Metzger, second place. Those of you newer to the league, this league's been in existence for a while, might not remember that for a while there, John Metzger used to dominate this league. I remember making videos several years ago saying, we're all coming after you, John. Well, congrats, Metzger. You're back. Second place, trying to chase down Molfus. End of last year, you made these moves, and even in the offseason, moves to get these young hitters at low prices. And by golly, I'll be honest, your hitting is studly, John. You got an awesome hitting team. But the question is, unbelievably, we're going to have to ask this. Are you going to be able to get enough pitching points to catch up with Molfus? Your hitting is there, but are you going to get enough pitching points to catch up to first place? Shout out number 3, got to do it, Joe Booze. Normally I say boo, Joe Booze, but I got to say yay, Joe Booze. What a good start. You, much like Metzger, have been in the league a long time, and for a while you were always up there near the top, and it's been a few years now where you've been struggling, but here you are, back at the top. You're very active, guys. There's more than one way to skin a cat. The Joe Booze is active, man. He is on the waiver wire. I'm going to say, Scott, you probably offer 4 or 5 trades a day. That's called putting your worm in the water, see if you can get a bite. But he's very active, and it's gotten him to 3rd place early in the season, right up there, just a little bit behind Metzger for 2nd. So Joe Booze, I'm going to say early season surprise. Nice to see you back up near the top. Now, probably one of the biggest surprises of the year early on. Oh, Mr. Wilson! No, it's not Dennis the Menace. It is Mark Wilson. He is back, baby, in the top 4. To be honest, I don't know how he's doing it. I don't even know who's on his team. But Wilson is there. He is in 4th place, not too far behind. In fact, I think the top 4 pretty closely tucked together there. And Wilson's back. I know that we've had this before. I have memories in past seasons where Wilson actually several years would be leading early out of the gate for maybe a month or 2 and then fade like an old pair of jeans toward the end and finish down near the bottom. He's gotten frustrated. I believe Wilson has left the league a few times, but he's back. And it's nice to see him. I'll be honest, one of the biggest surprises early in the season, Mark Wilson contending toward the top. Which brings us to the last surprise of the season. And I'm going to just have to say it. It's Syndergaard Cop. Me, baby! Yes! Now, you got to say, well, Eebs, you're just being a homer. You're just, loving on yourself. I got to say this, guys. I finished last year. 3,500 points. Dead bottom of the barrel. And I'm right there. I'm in 5th. I'm on the left side with ease. Okay? Now, I'll admit, and I know some of you out there are going to say it, oh, don't worry. Eebs will trade half his team for high school players. The team that he ends up with will not be the team that he drafted, and he'll be back down toward the bottom. And that might happen. I certainly will be spending money, and I might blow the whole thing. I might ruin it all. But for now, you got to admit, you got to be surprised that Syndergaard Cop is up near the top. So guys, I got to give myself some props. I'm hanging in there. I'm moving toward the top. And let's see if it lasts all year long. So I'm going to wrap up this video, doing it from school. I don't know if you can notice that. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I'm going to wrap up this video, and the next one, we're not done with the early season surprises. There's some early season disappointments. To be honest, some of you have underperformed. Not happy with how things are going. We'll get into that next time. Have a great time. We'll see you week 3. And maybe Cindergarten Top can be Cindergarten Top! Up there in the top! Talk to you later. Bye.